Nikola Jokic, one-time NBA champion and Finals MVP, three-time MVP, soon-to-be 6-time All-NBA, and 6-time All-Star. One of the greatest offensive engines of all time. Jokic is one of the greatest players of all time after just 9 seasons and has taken the Denver Nuggets to perennial contender status. And after all these accolades and legitimately changing the game as a passing big, where does the Joker rank in all-time arguments? Now, after Jokic won his 3rd MVP, that already put him in a very exclusive group, becoming just one of 9 players to be given the most valuable player award twice, and the 7th for it to be 3 times in a 4-year span. Jokic is not even 30, but he already ranks 13th in MVP shares, which calculates the number of all the votes he has ever got. That is more than legends like Stephen Curry, Hakeem Olajuwon, Kevin Durant, Oscar Robertson, Kevin Garnett, Dirk Nowitzki, Dwayne Wade, and Charles Barkley. He's also the first Denver Nugget to ever win the award. Now, when adding on making 4 more All-NBA first teams, Jokic is one of 8 players ever to do so. Let's look at Jokic's base numbers though currently. Jokic already has 14,139 points, sitting 187th, but with 20.9 points per game is nearing top 50. 7,259 total rebounds gets Jokic 107th and 35th with his 10.7 rebounds a game. Maybe even more surprisingly, as a center, Jokic is 81st with nearly 5,000 assists and 35th in per game stats with 6.9. Now, when changing that to playoff stats, Jokic gets even better by a wide margin despite having just 3 playoff runs. And I mean going really far in the playoffs. Jokic is 56th in total playoff points and top 10 in points per game. The 9 players above him, a combination of some of the greatest players ever and biggest playoff risers in the best offensive stretch in league history. Jokic is also 57th in total playoff rebounds and inside the top 20 in average playoff rebounds. He also sits top 50 in total playoff assists and 22nd in playoff assists per game. Now, between the playoff averages being 27.5 points, 12.3 boards, and 7.5 assists, he is the only player to ever put up those averages. Even when expanding totals, despite playing in just 77 playoff games, there's just 19 players to ever have those numbers, with the majority of every MVP ever won being on that list above him. When adding either field goal, 3-point, or true shooting percentage, he becomes the only player, but let's continue that trend of choosing just playoff totals. Jokic's 134 threes shortens the list to just 9 players, and his 246 offensive rebounds leads to a list of just LeBron, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler, Al Horford, and Jokic. He has also had that classic playoff run that all of the best need to have. LeBron's 2012 and 2016 runs, Dirk 2011 run, and Kawhi in 2019 are some of the most notable playoff performances recently to lead to a championship, but Jokic's last year was also amazing and historically significant. Jokic led last year's playoffs in points, rebounds, and assists, becoming the first player to ever do that across a playoff run. He averaged 30 points per game, 13.5 rebounds, 9.5 assists, 1.1 steals, and 1 block. He became just the 2nd player, only done before by Oscar Robertson in 1962-63, to average just 30, 13, and 9 across an entire playoff run, and did it in 20 games instead of Oscar's 12, when expanding to just 30 points and 9 assists, despite being a center. But only LeBron in 2018 has ever done that for a playoff run 8 or more games. Jokic's 2nd round was historically good, averaging 34.5 points, 13.2 rebounds, and 10.3 assists, something that has never been done in a 6-game sample size in the playoffs and only done in the regular season by Robertson. He also averaged 30, 14, and 7 in the quick finals win against the Miami Heat. Additionally, Jokic became the first player to have more than 7 triple-doubles in a playoff run, but doesn't just have 8 or 9, but has 10 in a 20-game span. Though the hype around the playoff run was quieter compared to most seasons, Jokic had a historically good playoff run and thrusted himself up in the all-time rankings. But what is something that Jokic really is known for? His dominance over advanced statistics, and it carries over into all-time rankings. Nikola Jokic ranks 1st all-time in PER in the regular season, player efficiency rating, and one of the main advanced stats, sitting above even MJ and LeBron, who are 2 and 3. But on top of that is 1st in career playoff PER. He has also led the NBA in that stat every year since 2020, just like win shares, where he sits 62nd all-time across ABA and NBA, but is 1st in win shares per 48 minutes, which is more relative to peak peak, which we will talk more about later. He's led the NBA in offensive win shares, box plus minus, and VORP over the last 4 seasons. Just an insane stretch and his first and all-time box plus minus, showing the impact he brings, while he is 25th in total value over replacement player all time. Jokic has really made himself a special player with his playmaking, as no other big man has ever been as good of a passer as Jokic. He has 7 of the top 12 average assist seasons ever by a center, ranking 1st, 2nd, 4th, 6th, 9th, 10th, and 12th. Despite not even being 30, Jokic is 2nd all-time in total regular season assists, only trailing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and is on pace to pass him in less than 2 years. He is ranked in the top 6 in assists for the past 6 years, and 2nd the last 2. When going over Jokic's overall accomplishments, the list is incredibly extensive. 3-time MVP, NBA champion, Finals MVP, and Western Conference Finals MVP. 6-time All-Star, soon to be 4-time All-NBA first team, and 6-time All-NBA player. 7-time Player of the Month, 1-time rebound champion, and 4 seasons in the top 5. 3 seasons in the top 5 of points, and 3 seasons in the top 5 of assists. 4th most triple-doubles all time, and additionally is on pace to pass Westbrook within the next 3 to 5 years. The best second-rounder of all time. For a 29-year-old, that is one of the greatest resumes we have ever seen at that age. At 29 years old, Kobe Bryant had 1 MVP and 0 Finals MVPs. Magic just had 2 MVPs. Hakeem had never even finished top 3 in MVP voting and made 3 first-team All-NBAs and hadn't won a championship. Steph had 2 MVPs, 2 first-team All-NBAs, and 5 All-Stars. Shaq, Oscar, and Durant just had 1 MVP. Wilt had 2, but not 3. Bill had 2 first-team All-NBAs. Jokic's 4-year peak might really be what sets him apart from other greats. His peak as an offensive engine is legitimately one of the greatest we have ever seen, with his scoring and playmaking combined can just take over a game. In the last 4 seasons, Jokic has had 3 MVPs and a 2nd place finish, 3 first-team All-NBAs, and a 2nd team, and 4 All-Stars. Jokic has the 4th most points in that time span, sitting at 7,677, only behind Luka, Tatum, and Giannis. He ranks 2nd in total rebounds with 3,592, behind Rudy Gobert, and has 2,569 assists, the 2nd most behind Trey. When combining points, rebounds, and assists, Jokic is nearly 1,000 more than 2nd place. Jokic has averaged 15.7 win shares per season over that time span, leading the league all 4 seasons. Also, nobody has got within 2 of him. Jokic is legitimately one of the greatest players ever when just counting advanced stats, and there's really an argument to say he has the best advanced stats of all time. He dominates pretty much every statistic possible. Jokic has the 3rd most total playoff points in the last 4 years, by far the most rebounds, with a gap between him and 2nd place Tatum nearing 100, and the most assists. He has over 50 combined playoff points per game, rebounds per game, and assists per game, and has made himself one of the best playoff performers in the past few years. Now that leaves us with a question: where does Jokic rank? As this short of time playing does not help, but his peak as an offensive engine is one of the best we have ever seen, and he's currently the best in the world. Looking at Complex's top 30, it is immediately clear that Jokic belongs on this list, as he is above many of the lower ranked players, and I can confidently put him above guys like Giannis and Kawhi and the previously 26th ranked Jokic in 2023, who doesn't have the number of accolades, high peak, and surprisingly to stay on an all-time list, but longevity that Jokic has right now. Right now, it does seem a bit up from that is where Jokic should settle, but it does seem like a very wide range. Jokic most likely settles around the wide Kevin Garnett to Julius Erving range, where they have player success and more longevity than Jokic, but Jokic isn't too far from their accomplishments and maybe even has more and has a much higher peak than them. Is Jokic a top 20 player? He's definitely in that area and could even see him as high as maybe getting even into top 15, and with a championship this season definitely reaches those talks. Currently he's in the 15 to 20ish area with the potential to jump into the top 10ish talks in the next few seasons.